Hello and welcome back to another One Piece video. So today I have RG Law for you guys. Honestly, RG Law, I am coping with him every single set just because I do like playing with him. His ability to be able to just bounce your characters and add a lot of pressure in the form of like Zoro, or now you have the starter deck Luffy, and then your restand Law and your blocker Law being able to just bounce your Zoro back to hand and then play him to attack again. Just feels really cool to be able to combo off, especially with Cavendish. Obviously Cavendish being able to combo off with restand Law just feels really good. And yeah, this deck basically just runs the Straw Hat package with the Supernova's Searcher in the form of Bonnie. I didn't want to play the 2-cost Kid and Killer actually in the new Bonnie starter deck, just because I felt that the 2 cost to play him down was pretty steep, especially when you're trying to combo off like mid game. And so I found that Bonnie is just like much better, even though she's not an on play. At least she only costs 1 Dawn, so like if you just want to like play her down so that the following turn you're able to combo off, I found her better for that reason. And then now playing the new starter deck Luffy, just able to apply pressure even if you're not able to bounce up your bodies. And then the Sanji helps with that as well, just because being a 6k swing. And then if your opponent answers, he's able to help you replenish your resources. Feels really good. And yeah, other than that, list is pretty much the same as the other sets, the previous ones. Just running 1 of Mogun, 1 Rad Beam, and 1 of the unblockable Luffy, just for ratio sake. And then just, yeah, I like the flexibility of Mogun, but obviously not going to be needed in every matchup, so the 1 of is totally fine. Same for Rad Beam. I think Rad Beam is super nice when you have it and are able to save the Dawn for it, but most of the time you're just not gonna be able to save up 1 Dawn just because you're trying to apply as much pressure as possible. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck list. Let's just hop over to some gameplay. Okay, so first matchup I got for you guys, we're going to be going up against our brother of the format, which is going to be Green Yellow Law. And obviously Green Yellow Law is brought into the game just to try to counter Blue Purple Luffy, just because he does really well into like both Blue Purple Luffy and Grape Luffy. And so I just wanted to see if we are able to out aggro him versus him trying to out aggro us. And yeah, our hand looks really good. We started off with 3 Nami searchers, and so we should be able to search a whole bunch while setting up our board to be able to leader ability on our 5 Dawn turn here. So I just played down the Nami here. I think here I probably grabbed the Zoro just to make sure that I have a combo piece for the Trafalgar Law, and then the second Nami just grabbing the last Zoro. So now we have 4 bodies on the board, and next turn we should be able to like play down this Cavendish and start comboing off with our leader ability. So looking in a really good spot here. Yeah, him being able to play down the Bonnie, and then obviously not able to leader ability because he only has a total of 3 costs on the board. So now this is our chance to really pressure him here. So I give him a 5k swing first. He actually gives it up, and so I play down the Cavendish, being able to use leader ability. Just going to be bouncing the red Nami to play down the Law, and then bouncing the Nami to play down another Nami here, and then grabbing a 2k from that. And so yeah, next turn we should be able to start really just taking over the tempo of the game, just because we have the Cavendish to restand the Dawn that we use for our leader ability, and we also have a red character to bounce to cheat out like another Law, or if we want to bounce our green characters, we can use that to cheat out the 5 cost Rush Luffy. So in a really good spot. Him playing down this Cavendish here, and then yeah, using the beige to grab the Law and then bouncing the beige, I imagine, and then playing down his Searcher Luffy there. So him being able to combo off himself. yeah, really just trying to compete with us swarming the board here. And so I probably start by bouncing, I would probably say the Nami here. Okay, so I start off with the 6k at lead. I think I wanted him to turn that Trafalgar Law sideways for the free block, just because if he did, we would have a body to swing into. And yeah, now we should be able to pressure a ton of just large swings into this Law, forcing him to give us counter or give us that valuable blocker he has. And so here, he's probably just going to give us a 1k. And he does. And then I'm guessing we attach Dawn to the Zoro as well. Oh, I actually opt to overlay the Nami there. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't use the Zoro here. I think I just wanted to save enough Dawn to be able to play out the... Actually, no, I think I just swing an 8-8 here. So 9. Yeah, my intention was to swing an 8-8, but my math obviously was not mathing. That swing should have been an 8-9 versus the 9-8. So swinging in 2 into our Zoro there, totally fine. Because now his Luffy is exposed sideways, and so our Nami should be able to get free value out of that, unless he bounces the Luffy, obviously. And then us being able to use our leader ability means that that Nami can just bounce right back up to our hand. So yeah, again, next turn we should be in a really good spot. We have a bunch of red options with that Searcher Nami to be able to cheat out those bodies. So he plays down the Law here, being able to essentially restand that Luffy, just reusing him here. And then he has another Beige. But yeah, the thing about this matchup is that the green-yellow Law needs to rip his own life in order to cheat out bodies, whereas all we need to do is invest 2 Dawn, and it just feels really good just because we naturally just want to rush down our opponent anyways. And him obviously ripping life for us makes it easier for us to compete for resources, because then we'll just swing a ton of swings into his bodies, and he's going to be forced to give us counter. Yeah, so I decide to just give the blocker there. I think there's really no reason for us to waste our 2Ks, considering we have a bunch of small bodies to play. And so here, yeah, probably playing down the Luffy here just because we have enough Dawn to use both the Luffys to swing into this Cavendish, and also restand Dawn using our own Cavendish. So start off with a couple of 6k swings just to fish out some counter. Yeah, probably restanding the Zoro actually. I guess that's fine as well. I think I just wanted to establish another blocker just in case if we were to swing in with the... Yeah, if we were to swing in with the Luffy at the end here and we didn't have a blocker, then our Cavendish would be pretty much cooked, right? If he decided to just swing like dumb heavy into her. So yeah, honestly, that was a pretty solid play. We were able to get out the Trafalgar Law, cheat out the Zoro as well, and then on top of that, use our leader ability to get out this second rush Luffy on the board. So now he was forced to either give us his entire hand essentially, or let that Cavendish go. And obviously, if you play Law, you know that Cavendish is one of your win conditions. And so he decides to drop the Hody Jones, which is again good for us because now he rips his own life. And he's trying desperately to try to fight for board here, and we should be able to counter a whole lot of these swings. And I really want him to, yeah, I really wanted him to commit his whole turn just to get one body off the board. But at that point, honestly, next turn, it looks like he only has one blocker, only 3k counter in hand. We just had way too many swings on board, especially with another Rush Zoro in hand. Probably would have been able to wrap up the match next turn. So able to squeeze out a win against green-yellow Law here. Okay, so second game I got for you guys, we're going to be going up against blue-purple Luffy here. And obviously as a rogue deck, it is really scary to go up against blue-purple Luffy. But I figured since we're running the Straw Hat package, primarily the Sanji and the starter deck Luffy, should help us apply a ton of pressure to this Luffy here. So he is able to swing in 6 at lead here. Obviously we're just going to take. We're just going to try to save resources as much as we can, just because at this point we really want to protect our bodies on board versus trying to protect our life, just because the name of the game against this matchup is just board tempo. And if you're able to stick a body on board and just constantly apply pressure, you should be able to close out the match before he really gets going with his leader ability. And so yeah, that's exactly what I do. I start off with a 6k swing from the Luffy here, and then instead of being greedy and swinging in 7 with the extra Don we have, I decide to just swing in 6 here, and then putting down the Tony Chopper, so that now we have 2 chump blockers for him to deal with. And really his only real answer for this aggression here is Gravity Blade exactly. And I know that like blue-purple Luffy's tend to only run like 1, maybe 2 Gravity Blades. And since he didn't have it, he had to play this Doflamingo here. And yeah, it's looking really tough for him, just because this turn he wasn't able to leader ability, and we should be able to just squeeze him out of resources here, especially because he turned that Nami sideways. And he actually just scoops it up. So yeah, looking at his hand, he was just absolutely bricked up. I can see why he decided to scoop it up here, because yeah, we have 3 swings on board, and looking at our hand as well, we also could have threatened another Rush Luffy, essentially forcing him to use that Gum Gum, and by that point he just will never be able to use his leader ability. So yeah, able to squeeze a win from blue-purple Luffy as well. Okay, so finally I have blue Buggy for you guys. I think blue Buggy is pretty notorious at this point, in this format at least, to be like the aggro killer, just because most aggro decks use like 3-cost bodies and 4-cost bodies to swarm the board. But thanks to Trafalgar Law's main threats being 5-cost, we're able to dodge out of that. So yeah, him swinging in 6 at lead here, obviously we're just going to take. No need to counter out of the first swing, especially because we just want to hoard as many resources as we can. And so here he actually counters out of the first swing here, I think because he knows that we're a aggro deck. He doesn't want to be eating like 2 lives per turn, so it counters out of the first one and then putting down the Zoro. It would just be countering out of that one, or I mean taking that one. And so here, yeah, able to find himself the Croc and Mihawk here. Kind of tough for us because he's able to develop 2 bodies that is able to contest our board. And yeah, I think at this point I contemplated giving up the Brook there, because I wanted to save the restand law to apply as much pressure as possible, but I figured Brook would be super important, because if we didn't find this Cavendish, we would be able to play down the Brook and then attach 2 Dawn to something before bouncing him back to hand. And then him being a red character, we're able to actually restand that Dawn as well. Yeah, so I actually do go with the Cavendish play here. Probably swinging in, what, 6? Oh, 7 with the Zoro here. And I was contemplating not swinging with this Zoro, but because he countered out of the last swing, I was just trying to fish to see if he had more counter after that. So able to squeeze out a life from a 5k swing feels really good, especially because we are on a clock. As soon as he starts developing his big bodies, there's really no way for us to compete with that. So yeah, he answers with another Croc and Mihawk, and now things are looking really grim for us, especially because he should be able to clear the board of all of our rested bodies. And obviously, in our perspective, there's just no reason to try to counter out of this. So yeah, able to also develop down a blocker as well, so really scary spot for us here. But I think at this point, I'm just gonna force him to either kill us or we kill him, and just like continuously go for his face here, right? So starting off with a 5 into the Bonnie, there's no way we're gonna counter out of that, and then a 7k into 5. I think I block here. Yeah, I block here just because even though we have to over counter, this is another swing that he has to respect on the board, and so I use that to our advantage, and then I swing in with everything I got. I kind of just ignore his board at this point, and I think I start off with a 7k swing so that he doesn't get a free block on us. And yeah, with the amount of Dawn efficiency our characters have on board, we should be able to just swing a bunch of 7s here. And so here I'm swinging in 7 at his Alvida. The reason why I did that was because if we didn't do that, he could almost for certain kill us next turn, right? Looking at our hand, we only had 1k counter, but now he has 4 threats on board, and he has to decide if he wants to go for game here. He's going to be risk like hitting a lucky trigger in the form of like Rad Beam or Mogun, or just us getting enough counter to counter out of that last swing there. And so he decides to go with the safe play here, and using Gravity Blade to our bodies, and then obviously being able to clear out the rest. And then yeah, obviously we're just going to be taking these. No way for us to really counter there. And so there, as you can see, we hit the Mogun out of life there. So if he decided to ignore our board and try to go for life, it would have costed him the game, right? So good on him to try to play around that. But because we have both Luffys in our hand, we have we basically have 2 options right now. So we have the option to swing at lead, and if he blocks with the Mihawk, we can use the starter deck Luffy to get a larger swing. Or if he counters, we can now use the unblockable Luffy to go for an 11k swing at lead, and this is guaranteed. So there's no way that he can counter out of this with just 2 cards in hand, and we were able to squeeze a win out of Blue Buggy 2 from a really bad spot. So yeah, that's basically how the deck runs. You're really just trying to swarm board as fast as possible, and then swinging in a bunch of like 5, 6, and 7s, forcing your opponent to have early counter or just fold to like how fast this deck runs. So that's basically it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.